Welcome back, guys. Episode 2. So now we get to dive into OJ and Charlie, the mob, the coke angles, the organized crime angles. There's some great books out there, too. Blue Thunder, the Don Arnao story. I want to talk about. We're going to talk about Ben Kramer, Don Arnao, Joey Ippolito. I had a really crazy dream last night about Joey Ippolito, which I never even really thought of him for years on the story, on the OJ story. So Blue Thunder was a great book about, it's called, how the mafia owned and finally murdered cigarette boat king Donald Arnao. This was George Bush's best friend, and he created the cigarette boat. If you know boat racing, Cigarette and the Donzi, they were like these very famous racing boats. And Don Arnao had come to Miami in the 60s. And as they say in the documentary, one of the smugglers says, Don came to work for Mr. Lansky. That's Meyer Lansky, right? You know who that is? Meyer Lansky created the mob. Okay, there's a heavy Jewish connection to the Italians with the mafia. Okay, Lucky Luciano, right, was Meyer's best friend. It's a funny story how they met too, and they almost like fought each other. And Meyer Lansky was 5'3". Okay, 5'3". Nicky Scarfo, can never say his name right. Little Nicky from Philadelphia. He's like 5'3". 5'2.5", okay? But these guys could kill you. Meyer Lansky used to walk his dog by himself in Miami. And that's where all these guys relocated. Miami. I got the shirt on. I'm trying to get into this for you guys, This is my smuggler shirt, the Smuggler's Blues. Meyer Lansky used to walk his dog by himself with no security guards, no bodyguards, and everyone would be like, someone's just going to hit him. Why not? He's got tons of it. No one ever hit him. He never went to jail. He died at 82 years old, or 81 in 83, something like that, some weird numbers. He lived into the early 1980s. He was running the mafia in the 20s, okay? Do the math. He was connected to JFK's assassination, to Marcello, to Trafficante in Tampa. They talk about that in the book. They talk about all the guys, Ben Kramer, Jack Kramer. I'm going to solve that murder for you too. He solved it, Thomas Burdick. He did, but I'll say it. I'll spread the knowledge. They muffed that. The Miami PD, they muffed the Don Arnao case big time. And that's what I'm talking about in these murder cases. You'll see these perfect storms. This guy says the wrong thing at the wrong time, and this guy disappears and no one can find him. There's fate. These things are it's like they're almost destined to happen. So Don Arnao and Ben Kramer, and so they race these boats in Miami, okay? The story, I laugh because it's almost not even real. It doesn't seem real. They race these boats for 20 years, the fastest boats in the world. They win these races. They like the lifestyle. They got the girls and the Donna Rice thing. Wink, wink. Remember Donna Rice and Gary Hart? It was a hit job by the mob to destroy Gary Hart. And I learned that through the research and investigation of the OJ Simpson accomplice. I also saw things on JFK that blew my mind of the mob and the CIA ties, Frank Sturgis, E. Howard Hunt. They were at Watergate. Coincidence? No. Okay? So there's a lot of stuff. So Don Arnao, he gets murdered in 1987, okay, by two guys, and we'll go into that in a second. The racing boat thing, it was a front. It was a coke front. They smuggled heroin and weed and coke, and they would park these motherships off the coast in international waters. And guess who owned the barges? Meyer Lansky. They always kick up. There's a hierarchy, right? So yeah, you got Don Arnao, Ben Kramer, Joey Ippolito, Louis Ippolito. There's a lot of famous capos, mid-level, captains. Everyone knows the bosses, Joe Bananas, Joe Bonanno, Tony Ducks Corallo. They know all the big guys, Chin Gigante, and You don't know about the middle guys, okay? And those guys are the most dangerous, okay? Meyer Lansky, they said he didn't even ever like pull the trigger for like 20 years, okay? So some of these guys, they don't actually murder anyone, okay? They just order it. They don't need to because they have a hierarchy, just like the army. The general's not the guy shooting in the front lines. He's in a hut with a headset on and a drone and So Don Arnao gets killed in 87. So anyway, the Miami Mafia. So all the guys from New York and New Jersey, they moved to Miami. That's where they start to go. And you saw Cocaine Cowboys with Billy Corbin and John Edwards or Roberts. And he knew Joey Ippolito. You can go online. He talks about Joey Ippolito coming up to him saying, I can move 30 kilos a month in LA. I need 30. No problem. That was connected to Griselda Blanco. Goes back to Pablo, the Ochoas, Barry Seal. Brian Grazer made a movie about Barry Seal called American Made. Go watch it. There's a couple really cryptic scenes in there too. That's OJ. That's OJ Simpson. All of it. All the Miami guys. It's OJ. Go look at the photos of OJ with Thomas Adams and Eugene Hicks when he bought a speedboat on Thunderboat Alley. Okay? And both those guys get murdered. Thomas Adams gets run off the road by 4 Colombians in Miami and his car gets riddled with bullets. He gets murdered right there. Eugene Hicks gets stabbed and shot in his house in Hallandale. By who? His name's Eugene Hicks. Well, that's weird. Hicks doesn't sound Italian. He was mob. Well, why's he got the last name Hicks? Because they don't have real names. Everything's a ruse. That's OJ Simpson. Ben Kramer, Joey Ippolito, Don Arnao. That's OJ Simpson. So they kill Eugene Hicks. They kill Thomas Adams. They're boat makers. All these guys made boats. I mean, just you got to put the pieces. It's like, how does everyone know how to make a speedboat? Because they use it to smuggle drugs. So yeah, in the daytime, it's a great front. Race them. All the chicks love you. They're on ESPN. People actually like the sport. It's actually kind of cool. I mean, they're risking life and limb. They're flying across water like 90 miles an hour. That's fast on the water. Anyone that's ever been in a boat, you're going like 40 miles an hour in a boat, you feel like you're going to die. Okay? They're going 93 miles an hour. Okay? And they're perched up high so they can see over the 60-foot, bow that's popping up in their face. It's a wild sport. And I met this other guy who knew these guys personally, and he told me some stories. I can't even say some of the guys' names. Guys getting guns stuck in their mouths, the wives getting kidnapped. Joey set a guy up once, said, hey, I need to hide $500,000 cash in your penthouse for like 2 days. You cool? He made him do it. He hid it. The next morning, 2 Colombians come there, robbing the guy. Where's the money at? How do they know the money's there? Because he set him up. And even on Joey's deathbed, the guy asked him and said, hey, Joey, I just always wanted to ask you, was that a setup? Can't talk about it, man. I'm about to die. I have cancer. I'm dying. Okay? My friend, the Colombian, he's a real dangerous guy. He bought 2 boats. The engines blew. Don said, fuck him. He's not getting any money. Don will kill you if you don't pay him. Tell him to do what he's got to do. They're all mob. And the Colombians were tied in big time. Where do you think the mob gets their coke from? They don't make it. It's in Colombia. And what's inside the script? Colombia. When Charlie lives there for like 6 months. And his mom doesn't know where he is. And he makes a joke. Oh, it's great fodder for a Jewish mother. She thought I was dead for 6 months. I bet she did. That's the game. And she was married into it. She knew about it. They all know about it. A lot of the women, I'm not going to go into it, but there's an allure to it. There's a lot of money. These guys they made a lot of money. Billions, not millions, billions. And it's untraceable and they don't pay taxes. So it's like twice as much money as the normal man's going to make. So Thunderboat Alley, Don Arnao, these guys, they making the boats. They work for Lansky, okay? They kick up. He dies in like 82. He just like drops dead. Other guys take over. The outfit is big. I learned this about the Chicago mob. I never knew how powerful the Chicago mob was, the outfit, okay? they could do stuff that would make your head spin, okay? And they killed Don Arnao. The two guys drove from Chicago. They weren't in Florida, and it wasn't Bobby Young, and it wasn't Ben Kramer, okay? And this is what the mob does. You don't know if they're coming or going. You can't figure it out, right? One guy was an ex-NFL player. He's a football player. He used to be a hitman for the mob in Chicago. 6'4", 260. Sure. Put a 45 in his hand. It's going to be pretty hard to stop. And so they were hired, and they came down from Chicago. So Thunderbolt Alley and all these guys are making the boats, and they work for Lansky, and they work for the mob, and it's a cocaine front. When Ben Kramer used to buy stuff, the money smelled like weed, okay? So they have these stories about, the transactions, and God, what's that smell? It's all his money smelled like weed, okay? So they got these barges. They catch Joey Ippolito in Long Island in like 81. He's got like 30 guys with him, 20, maybe 10 Colombians, 20 other guys, a lot of white guys. And they get pinched in Long Island Sound near Block Island, where I used to live. And they find night vision. They have high-tech radar. They had a mothership that was like a barge off the coast. It couldn't come in to Long Island Sound. They thought it would beach, right? So it can't come in. Now they have these other speedboats that go to the ship, and then they come in. They rented a house in Long Island, and they catch them. They follow them. They've been watching them for days, and they sit on the house, and they let them unload all the drugs, like hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds actually. And then the raid goes on. They catch him. Joey's there. Bunch of the other guys. Okay, they're coming up into New York, probably from New York City. Night vision, high-tech radar. How do they have this stuff? Why? Because it's a professional operation. Okay? And if you say, well, what about Meyer Lansky? Did he have government CIA ties? You bet your ass he did. Okay? He was involved in Kennedy. He knew Kennedy was going to get whacked. Meyer Lansky may possibly have been the most powerful mobster of all time. I'm going to just say it straight up. And I know the diehard mob guys, like, I'm half Italian. They're going to say, what are you, out of your mind? The Jew, Murder Inc. Okay. Who did Murder Inc? The Jews. Who killed Dutch Schultz? Chuck the Bug Workman. Okay. Who did the hits for the mob? The Jews. Lucky Luciano. Who did he befriend and trust his whole thing with? Meyer Lansky. Okay. So as he dies, there's a power struggle, right? Don Arnao knows too much. Oh, I had talked about the Donna Rice, Gary Hart thing. We'll talk about that maybe in a second. I want to make sure I lead into Charlie in this episode. I want to now come into Charlie. I want to come into OJ, okay? So Don Arnao, he knows too much. There's a subpoena coming out. He's going to have to testify. They're catching him. All the weed is stored in his facility, the coke. He's selling the boats to the government. It was called Blue Thunder. That's why they call the book Blue Thunder. George Bush set the contract. You couldn't help but like Don Arnao. Don designed Blue Thunder. So he raved about Don Arnao, okay? And he's going to get the subpoena like the next day. They find out, the mob knows about it. Okay, now they can either send a couple Colombians to whack them, right? They can grab the two guys out of Chicago, the outfit, professional killers, professional, okay? They each had like 20 murders each, never got caught ever, okay? They died, they're dead now. And Joey Ippolito's dead now too. There's a lot of these guys I can talk about because they're not here. And a lot of these mobsters are older now. They don't need to get mixed up in the game. And I'm some young dude and they want to come this way. They don't need it. They don't need to. I'm worth more alive to them. Okay. I can make them money. Okay. I can earn. So Don knows too much. He's too tied in. He's dealing the boats to the government. That's causing a problem. Okay. Already, like, what side's he on? He's got to go. Okay. They hire the two guys. I won't say their names. They're cryptically in the movie. John Travolta did the movie called Speed Kills. And they used the name Dwayne Franklin. I believe is played by Tom Sizemore or one of the other guys. And that's the names, Frankie and Wayne. Those are their first names. Those are the guys who killed Don Arnao. Not Bobby Young, not Ben Kramer. Ben Kramer was there at the murder on the back of his dock, like fixing his boat with Bobby Cicenti, and they heard pop, 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 and they came running out, okay? You think he set a murder up to shoot it in front of his place? Probably not. So, and they made a statement, and if you watch the movie, it's actually a cool movie. I'll give a plug to it. It's called Speed Kills, and he plays Don Arnao. They changed the names, but that's who he's playing. And Kellen Lutz plays a character, Robbie Reamer, who's supposed to be Ben Kramer. But the way I look at it is, Kellen Lutz actually plays Joey Ippolito and Ben Kramer merged together. And you have to watch this documentary called Thunder Man. It's called Thunder Man, the Don Arnao story, and you'll see it all come together. They talk a lot about Joey, and Joey's in there, okay? Ben Kramer's in there. And I always do it's not a monologue, it's just, I'm talking to you today because I'm tired of all the lies. Don was like my uncle. He liked his horses. He liked his gambling. He was somewhat of a ladies' man. That's Ben Kramer at the end of the documentary. He's doing life for weed. They're trying to get him out, okay? There's a magazine. The kid did a magazine. It's called Vehicle. It's like a European thing. It's a cool little video he does. Ben Kramer's on the cover of the magazine, cartoonized, characterized, whatever, caricatured. And it's him, and he's like flipping the camera off, and he's grabbing his nuts, and he's in trial, and he's in court, and he's grabbing his nuts. These guys are badass motherfuckers. I'm just going to say it straight up. And if Ben Kramer was out and Joey Ippolito was alive, you bet your ass I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now. My friends ask me, am I in trouble? Maybe. I'm always in trouble, man. It doesn't matter what I do. If I make one phone call to Hollywood, I got SWAT knocking on my door. I have to check the mailbox every fucking day to see which cease and desist it is, which civil lawsuit it is, so that I make sure I don't call them, because now here comes the cavalry, okay? Anyway, I'm not supposed to get that animated right now, guys. It's just me and you, though, remember? It's just us. We can do more of these, I hope. Hopefully. So Donnie and Benny and Joey, okay, they're mobsters out in the open, right out in front of you, racing boats, banging chicks. Hate to say it that way. And it was a lot of cocaine. And that's going to segue us into Charlie and to OJ Simpson and June 12th. Ron's Revenge. It's basically the same book as If We Did It. This one's newer. This one, the ending's different. I changed a couple things, made it a little clearer. So this is the version to read. It's on Amazon. Shameless book plug. I solved the murders for Ron Goldman. Remember I talked about the victims, right? That's who I related to, Ron Goldman, not Nicole. Nicole, to me, she didn't bring it upon herself, but Faye Resnick and her ties to Joey Ippolito and Charlie and the mob, and that's why Nicole writes a letter to Cora Fishman. The people that Faye hangs with, frankly, scare me. She tells her that, okay? Let's not jump ahead. Let's focus on OJ Simpson and the accomplice and Charlie, okay? So there were two killers. There were two knives. There were two coroners. 26 years of ruse and farce. And the reason I told the Miami mob story and about those guys was to show you that it can be right in front of you and you don't know it. Okay? Right in front of you. Every day. On TV. Charlie's been on TV. You can look it up. He's in interviews. Okay? On CNN. He's in session. He's on radio. He's not hiding in a cave. Okay? The longer these cases go, like OJ's, the harder it is to pin him. It's not harder to solve. It's harder to pin him. So you had fraud of the century. No, it was the trial of the century. No, it was the fraud of the century. And like I said in the monologue of what OJ said in the beginning, right? Forget everything you think you know about that night, because I know the facts better than anyone. I do. It's not an ego thing. It's fact. I have the inside scoop. I have the Rosetta Stone in my book, in the chapter. Chapter 5, Rosetta Stone. Chapter 1, Roman Circus. Talks about Hollywood and the ruse and the smoke and mirrors. What is a circle, right? What's a circus? A ring for people to perform in. They used to race the chariots around them, right? Okay, I did the research on this. Like, what is a circus? What's a Roman circus really mean? Deception. Ta-da! Show business. Okay? So, OJ had help. And Charlie has talked about in his book, If I Did It, Chapter 6, the night in question. Charlie brought the knife, and Charlie followed this guy in. Somebody's got to get rid of the bloody clothes. These are the things OJ tells you. He's telling you about Charlie. They go minute by minute in the book, okay? In If I Did It. In the script, in the 3rd episode of the podcast, I'm going to start reading from my book. I'm going to start reading from the script. I'm going to start showing you. Okay, I'm going to really start to reveal it to you. 2 knives, 2 coroners. Chris Todd. What do you mean by 2 coroners? Well, they had Dr. Irwin Golden first, and he testified in the pretrial, but what he said didn't make any sense to Marcia Clark. Jill Shively hates Marcia Clark, by the way. Don't forget that. Dr. Irwin Golden, he said there were 2 morphologically different stab wounds on the victims. Well, that's not going to work because the prosecution's going to say, this was the time the murders happened. There was 1 knife, there was 1 killer, OJ, right? So what do they do with Dr. Irwin Golden? They kick him off the case. The actual coroner who does the autopsies is kicked off the case. Robert Shapiro, who was a genius, so was Johnny Cochran. The more I watched these guys and what I saw from them, and even Marcia and Darden, they had their moments too. I mean, there's some really brilliant stuff they did. But Robert Shapiro annihilates the knife testimony, okay? They should teach his stuff to colleges and forensics, universities, institutions of how to deal with knife wounds. Because basically, after Robert Shapiro gets done with Irwin Golden, okay, and Lakshmanan, you have no idea which way the knife came from, the size of the knife. They could never figure out the size. I know what knife it was. They could never figure it out. I had the wrong knife at first. In my book, I may have to fix it because I learn new things every single day on this. My knife is too wide. It was a thinner knife, the width. I mean, it was like there were 2 thinner knives. And they never could figure out what knife it was. And so anyway, Robert Shapiro, the knife testimony with both coroners. You don't know which way the knife's coming from. You don't know, some of the angle. You can't tell if it's a right-handed guy or a left-handed guy. Is he behind or in front? You can't tell which way the knife is in his hand, okay? It was fascinating how Bob Shapiro did this. No one could ever figure it out. And they put Jose Camacho on the stand, and he said, OJ bought a knife 2 weeks before, and it was 15 inches long. It had a 6-inch blade and a 9-inch hilt or whatever. It wasn't. They found it in an envelope. Mark Furman, and I want to get into Mark Furman's book, because I knew I would find hidden gems in his book, just getting him to talk and open his mouth, right? And that's why I bought all these books. I mean, I have literally, I have Killing Time, Donald Freed, Raymond Briggs. This might be the best OJ book ever written. Put over here. He knew there were 2 killers. He knew it. He knew before I did. He knew before anyone did. He wrote this in 96. That was 2 years after the murders. And that's like yesterday. To them, the murder's like yesterday, okay? It would be pretty damn hard to research that case. So, and he died. Donald Freed is dead. I tried to go to him, and then I found out he was dead. I wish he was still alive because he would actually be a person listening to me. So they knew there were 2 killers. So the knife testimony, etc. Bob Shapiro, brilliant job, annihilates them, destroys the prosecution. They got nothing on the knife stuff and the wounds. And so they get rid of Dr. Irwin Golden. They bring in Dr. Lakshmanan, who was pretty good. He knows his shit. He did a good job. I watched more of his testimony. I'm not going to bag on him. He didn't do the autopsy, okay? And when Robert Shapiro asked him and goes, is Dr. Golden sick? No. Well, where is he? Why isn't he here testifying? Well, I'm going to take over. So Lakshmana takes over. He doesn't even do the autopsies. It never had been done. He asks him, is that normal? Normally, I don't want to do the accent. Normally, the coroner testifies. Well, where is he? And this is part of the ruse. This is what it is. And like I said, when Rachel Ferrara walks out of the courtroom, so does the verdict. So does the case. Bye-bye. There's these moments, only I can see them. You'll be able to see them now, though, when you read my book, when you hear some of the script. You're going to see it. I'm not some genius. I'm dedicated. I'm focused. I work hard. That's how I do it. It's blood, sweat, and tears. And then live it a little. Get a little spiritual on it, right? Connect to Ron Goldman. Nicole showed me a couple things. She's poked her head out to me, I feel. I know Ron has. Many times. He was a tennis player, so was I. He was a waiter, so was I. Actor, yup. Go watch Studs. He's a kid making his way in town. Good looking, young. Did he do cocaine? Yes. Did he deal? Yes. Did Brett Cantor? Yes. Did Brett Cantor get murdered? Yes. Chopped up. Stabbed 20 times. Oh, they gave him a Colombian necktie. Well, I don't know if it's physically possible. The tongue comes through under the chin. Well, who did that? Colombians. Well, why are the Colombians in LA? Because they are here in LA. They're there. They'll come up from Mexico and they will kill you. The mob uses them. Okay? Look up Brett Cantor. Look up Michael Nigg gets shot by two masked guys at an ATM in Hollywood. You don't just get shot going to the ATM, okay? And his girlfriend was there. There was a witness, and these guys had ski masks. They come out, pop up. Where was he from? Aspen, Colorado. Well, that's weird. There was a huge cocaine ring in Aspen, Colorado. Look up Stephen Grabow. They blew him up in his car in Aspen. Boom. They found like $100 million cash in his chalet. Okay, cash. I think it's even more than $100 million. So the ruse, 26 years. Okay, so the coroners, two knives, those correlate right. I can explain. I'm not going to go into so much detail. I could go forever. I'm not trying to do that right now. There's just so much, 26 years and the different theories. You just need to know that there was another killer. There was the second killer, and his name's Charlie. I'm not going to say his last name. I don't need to. I'm going to give him an out because I felt I bonded with him enough to give him an out. Joey Ippolito, I don't need to give an out. I worship Joey. I wanted to be Joey Ippolito. Any like renegade type guy or some adrenaline junkie or, you like that crime world and the underworld, you would worship Joey Ippolito. And I could talk about the dream I had about him last night. It was pretty weird. I never had a dream about him, and I was staring at him face to face, man. His hair was kind of flowing. Good-looking guy, man. Good-looking guy. And he was born into the mob. So were his brothers. One of his brothers died in a drug hit. His other brothers dealt coke in L.A. and Woodland Hills and got busted. And there's this higher echelon of money and fame. There's another guy, I can't say his name right now. He was a famous studio president. Big connections to the mob. Partier, out of control, used to throw these lavish parties. He's in here. He's in the script. So, 26-year ruse. Smoke and mirrors. Hollywood. They'll drive fake stories, man. That's what they'll do. They're not going to tell you the truth. OJ won't let you. You can't. Why do you think they've never done a movie about OJ Simpson? Because they can't. And that's wrong because you need to fight for it. Make OJ take you to court. Make Charlie take you to court. Oh, what'd this guy say? Who's this nobody saying I was there? I wasn't there. I told OJ not to use my name. I said, Charlie, why do you use your name? Why does he say your name in chapter 6? I told him not to. No, you didn't. I met OJ in '01. No, you didn't. And I can prove it. There's a photo of you with OJ and Kato Kalin. Nights before the murders. Well, where is it? Well, I won't tell you where it is because I don't want any knocks on the door right now. Kato Kaelin's a farce. He's a ruse. He knew Charlie. He saw him. He was there. Kato. When Kato took the stand also, bye-bye case. The second they let him go on there, he just manipulated everybody. He did a brilliant job. I give Kato, and I went to Kato. I gave Kato an opportunity to come clean. He didn't want to. Told me to fuck off. I'm moving forward. Life is good. Of course it's good. You made millions of dollars off of Ron and Nicole's murder. And when they asked Kato Kaelin, did you ever have sex with Nicole? And he said, no, that's a lie. And in one of my source statements, he says that OJ blackmailed him. And he knew about that he was with Nicole, and he wanted to move Kato away from Nicole. So he let him move into his house for free. So OJ could have Nicole all to himself again, because they were divorced, back and forth, back and forth. It was a brilliant murder. I'm just going to say it. And in the script, there's a part where Charlie and the producer talk about when they drive by 875 Bundy, it's dark and it's in shadows, and they do come to the front first, okay? And then they come around to the alley, and it's quiet. All the neighbors told you so, right? And there's a part of the pitch that I can't think of the whole thing the second. You know, it was a terribly quiet evening. All the neighbors told you that. But Joey wanted his money. So he sent Charlie. And it went horribly south, horribly wrong. So OJ comes out in 06. Charlie comes out with him, but doesn't fully come out because he can't go and cuff me in the parking lot on the way out. I killed Ron Goldman with OJ Simpson. Bye-bye. Well, it's a fake confession. That's what the police, not these particular detectives, some of these other officers I had talked to about it. Anyone could study the case and anyone could be named Charlie. And, well, it's kind of weird that the guy's name's Charlie. He's OJ's best friend. He's a former cocaine smuggler in the mob. He's a Jewish mobster from New York. His dad worked for Meyer Lansky. He tells you that in the script. And he used to work in the restaurants where all the mobsters used to come in, and he'd get girls for them. And he was like 15 years old. He was like a kid, okay, in New York. Then they all moved to Miami. What a coincidence. And that's talked about in here too. Okay? So when there's a string of coincidences, it's fact, okay? You can't turn back the hands of time. We know you want to. We know you want to just say OJ, 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 OJ. What does it even help you to say just OJ? It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't. You make him richer every time you talk about him. Maybe we're doing it right now. I'm going to beat him, though. I already beat him. The only reason you don't know I beat him is because Hollywood blocks stories. That's what they do. And I know you're thinking to yourself, like, the guy can't hit that many people. Maybe he told, like, 2 producers and they didn't get his message. No, I hit everyone. I can hit 100 people in one day. Email, voicemails, text, phone, Facebook, Instagram, in seconds. I can do it so fast. And they call that harassment when I try to do a deal or when I try to solve a murder or I want to tell a story. That's wrong. And that's why Hollywood always gets caught. Bad behavior, the abuse. We talked about Charlotte Kirk, talked about Ron Meyer, Kevin Tusiahara, the OJ story, all the lawyers, they're involved. What's up? Because it's all OJ. Okay? He's like Michael Jackson. There's no such thing as too much Michael Jackson. They live forever. They're part of your psyche. They're part of your paradigm. You don't even know you're thinking about them. Okay? What's our time check, producing team? Just so I know for episode 2. I got to keep my people engaged. 38 minutes. We have to wrap up this episode in a minute and move on to the big one. Episode 3, where I get into it. Okay? So, last thing we'll say. All right, on our episode 2. So Charlie, they come out in 06. They do the Judith Regan interview. They write the book. OJ blacks out. And then I black out. I don't remember what happened. So they don't tell you, we're stabbing them. They don't say that, right? They do it in a cryptic way. And finally, Charlie comes forward in 2017. That's when he comes forward, okay? And he partners with these producers. They write a script. They didn't let me have it. They make a tape. There's a confession tape. It's like 10 hours long. I don't have it. I could get it. Anyone could get it if they put in effort. You know, I can't do it. I can't do everything on it myself. It's Michael Jordan. It's the New York Yankees. I'm not going to beat the New York Yankees by myself. I'm not. Am I beating them in the fourth inning? Like I'm up 3-1 in the fourth and our bats are going and we're looking good. Yes. I got them in the middle of the World Series. We're up 3-1. I need a closer and I need another bat, right? In the eighth and the ninth inning, I need a couple hits. They're going to come back. We're in the World Series. They're pretty good baseball players, okay? I beat the New York Yankees halfway. Help me finish them off. Help me. Okay, there's a lot of you that can help me. PIs, the police, investigators, Faye Resnick, come forward. Kato Kalin, come forward. Charlie, come forward fully. OJ, come forward. There's nothing else to do, man. It's 2020. Anything's possible. So they come out in '06. They do the book. They do the interview. They talk about Charlie. He gets rid of the knife, the shoes, the clothes. OJ tells you that. They try to protect Charlie. He says to OJ, don't go in there with that knife. You look like a burglar. You look like a psycho. Give me the knife. He grabs the knife from Charlie and he holds it in the Bronco. False. Okay? They both have knives. They go in there, bad intentions. They don't see the steel. I may read parts of the ending of the book for you. I think that's the part I should read is towards the end. They don't see the steel. The knives glisten in the moonlight. They don't see it. Nicole's pissed off. Ron's a little pissed. This guy's fucking everybody up in town, going after like her boyfriends and making scenes, and it's embarrassment. And that's OJ. RJ was embarrassed that Natalie was going to divorce him right in front of Walken, and they had this huge fight. It's the same thing. It's embarrassment. And embarrassment is a blow to your ego, okay? And it can make you kill for sure, okay? We've seen it. I've seen it in other cases. So they come forward. Charlie finally comes forward in 2017 officially. They almost made his movie. They almost did. They've done radio stuff. They've done books. It's out there. It's not like I'm really saying too much stuff that's not already out there. And it's sad in a way. It's shocking in a way. But I'll tell you, it's fascinating too. And in episode 3, we're going to go for it. I'll see you then.